Hello everybody, my name is William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're doing another FSEconomy flight, picking back up in the Cessna 208 Grand Caravan. We'll be going from Tumbler Ridge today to McKenzie, British Columbia. Should be a beautiful flight, nice, short, around 80 miles, somewhere in that range. We'll go ahead and kind of get on into the planning and FSEconomy side of things, and then we'll get on into the flight. I hope you all enjoy. Alright, so taking a look at the FSEconomy page here, you can see in our My Flights we have all these assignments loaded up, but only one of them says it is status departing. That's because we only have one job going from Tumbler Ridge to McKenzie. The rest of these jobs are at McKenzie. I've already lined up to go to Hudson's Hope, which we'll be doing kind of in the second part of this flight. But for today's flight, we're just looking at 77 nautical miles, and we're going to the west with just 189 kilograms of cargo on board, paying us just under $700. We can also see the aircraft has 131 gallons of Jet A on board. We could try to refuel if we wanted to, but if you watched the last flight, you'll know we had to plan a little bit because this FBO on site at this at Tumbler Ridge has no Jet A available. So that's what we have to work with. Fortunately, at McKenzie, we do have Jet A available. They have about 1,500 gallons of Jet A available for us there, so we should be good to go. And just taking a look at Sky Vector, we're not going to do anything fancy as far as the plan. We're just going to go direct to and basically hop back over the mountains. And basically McKenzie right here along the water should be a pretty cool airport to fly into. So not much for the planning side of things, but it looks like if we go up to 8,500 feet on the hop over, we will be perfectly fine as far as our altitude is concerned, and good for a westbound flight as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and get on into the flight. Welcome on board the Cessna 208 Grand Caravan, everybody. We're on the ramp here at Tumbler Ridge. We just got a pushback from the lovely ground crew. You can see our FSEconomy client window is open here. The aircraft is on the ground and available at Tumbler Ridge, so we'll go ahead and go into flight, actions, and start flight. Let's make sure our cargo loads up, and there it is. So we are ready to go ahead and get the aircraft started, get on our way to McKenzie before the sun gets much lower. So let's go through and make sure the aircraft's ready for startup. So parking brake is set. We'll go prop to full. Go ahead and open up both the left and right tank. Now let's work back around. We'll get the battery on. Make sure the ignition's set to normal, and everything else looks good there. We'll go ahead and get our avionics on. Okay, so now beacon light can come on, and we'll go to our fuel boost and set it to on as well. Alright, so now we are ready to start the aircraft up. Make sure the ground crew's clear of our prop there, and they are, so we'll hit the starter. Alright, our oil pressure's coming up, prop's spinning up. Let's see, wait just one moment, and then we'll put the conditioner lever into low idle. A little bit too far there. It's all about all the same there. Alright, so we got fuel flow, oil pressures in the green now. ITT's on the climb, torque's climbing up. Get ready to turn the starter off here. There we go. That is a good engine start. We can leave it in low idle on the conditioner lever for a moment while we go through and set the rest of the aircraft up. So I don't forget, like I did on the last flight, we're going to set fuel boost back to normal. We'll set CDI up into GPS, because that's what we're going to be flying off of today. We'll do bearing 1 onto GPS as well. Get wind up on option 3. Looks like the wind's coming out of almost directly the west at about 2 knots. Runways here are runway 02 and 20. 2 knots not going to really make a huge difference. We'll just take 02 as that's the one we're closest to on the ground. And then let's see, Just real quick, we'll go ahead and set our VFR code, and since we're going to be just a moment here, we'll go ahead and turn it on. Like I said in the planning, we're going to plan for 8,500 feet, so we'll set that up in our altitude bug before we get rolling. Well, scroll and scroll and scroll, and there's 8,500 feet. We can turn our flight director on. We could set a heading up of 0 to 0. We could turn heading mode on. And we could also set a vertical speed mode of, do a nice casual 800 feet a minute for our initial climb. Pitot heat on, stall heat on. We have the runway just down over there, clear over there. We can see the windsock, kind of confirming what we're seeing on our PFD. And we'll go ahead and zoom the map out because there's not a whole lot to see as far as what's going on the ground here. So we'll release our parking brake and we'll start to taxi. We'll get our taxi light on. Wave to the ground crew, thank you very much. We're gonna try and expedite it a little bit. Try and get in to McKinsey before the world gets all dark on us. So we're short of the runway. Left side looks clear. Right side looks clear. So let's take the runway. Go and get our strobe lights on. Go landing lights on as well. Just double checking one more time. Get our takeoff flaps out. So since we're just gonna back taxi a little bit. And turn around for full length runway 02 on out of here. We are going to be rotating today. We're going to be looking for about 85 knots. And we're going to try and climb out around 110 using the flight level change mode for the climb. So we don't forget, we'll go ahead and put the condition lever to full. And let's pull that the throttle all the way back here. This thing will just pulls basically with the prop or with the throttle pulled all the way back. Really likes to let you know it's got a lot of power. It wants to get going. All right, so Caravan does not like to make sharp turns, so we really got to slow all the way down. So it is getting close to sunset. We'll go ahead and get our nav lights on too. Might as well. Get lined up. Runway 02. We'll hold our brakes here. And let's slowly creep the power up. Set takeoff power, and then we'll release the brakes. Release brakes. Alright, we're rolling. Airspeed is alive. Looking for 85 knots. Let's try and use that rudder to keep it nice and center. Going over the bumps here. There's, well, alright, we're lifting off at 80. Airplane wanted to fly. Alright, so positive rate, and we are climbing out. I didn't even pull back, we just kind of launched off of that jump. That's all good. So we're climbing out on runway heading. We're kind of exceeding the vertical speed I had set in the autopilot, but that's just fine. As we're kind of accelerating, we still have a good climb rate. We'll go through 500 feet above the ground, and we'll get our flaps in, compensate with back pressure, keep the climb going. Like I said, about 110 knots is what I want to climb out at today. But we'll go ahead and start our left-hand turn to get us a little bit more on course. With the flaps in, I want to give myself a little bit more trim up. And go ahead and get our taxi light off. The recog light is kind of nice, should be flashing away. Makes you really easy to see in low light conditions. So we're through 4,500 feet. We only have 4,000 feet left to go in the climb, really. Let's see how low that sun is. Visibility doesn't look the greatest. So we'll just come to the right a little bit more. We'll settle on about 250 for our heading. If I want the autopilot to take over, I could go ahead and just click the heading button there, and it will sync it to my current one, and then I could adjust directly to 250 if I wanted to. Could also engage the flight level change mode. It's on 108 right now, and I can just increase that to 110. And then we basically fly the flight director. That way the transition is smooth-ish, and then engage the autopilot. And just like that, my hands are off the controls, and the aircraft is nice and happy. We'll go ahead and pull the power back. Should have done that just a little bit earlier, but don't want to be burning up too much fuel. The clouds look great. We don't necessarily want to be getting into them, though. It's nice and cold up here. I'm hoping we make it into McKinsey. We should be able to before it's too dark or anything like that. It should be just a nice sunset into McKinsey. We're showing 37 minutes at the moment, and we're nowhere near cruise speed, so that's just going to get faster. Alright, so we are just about to level out here at 8,500 feet. We're going to keep our power in and try to get a little bit more airspeed. We still haven't quite captured our GPS course, but look at the sun just coming through those clouds. That looks glorious. The sky is basically golden all the way along. And we are kind of right at this really thin layer of clouds at our altitude. But I don't think we need to worry about it too much. We are going to be direct on course to McKinsey, which is it just crossed under 69 miles from us. We do have a bit of a headwind, about 5 knots or so, but even with that, we're probably going to be doing close to around 170 plus knots across the ground. You see all the lovely lakes down there in these, or lakes, rivers, streams, everything along the way. They're really going to show up and kind of pop out of the ground with the sun peeking through the way it is. Looks great seeing all the rays come through. And the spaghetti line, that is the little stream down there. Looks quite nice. So we're just now crossing through the GPS track. So we'll go ahead and activate the nav mode. And it is going to turn us to the right, a little bit more on course. It looks like we will be clear of the terrain, like I said, in the looking at Sky Vector. It looked like 8,500 should be safe for the entire trip over, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Even if we wanted to go a little bit higher, we definitely could for this kind of distance of a flight. It's not like we spent too much time in the climb, but it is air temperatures just below freezing at the moment, clouds, moisture, icing. I'm a big baby whenever it comes to that kind of stuff, so I feel like rightfully so, but nevertheless, we're just gonna kind of hold station here at 8,500. doing 171 knots across the ground. We could pull the power back even more and conserve fuel. But it's a nice smooth ride. Beautiful looking sunset going on. We're showing just under 22 minutes to McKenzie. Get some lights on up in here. It's gonna start getting a little bit dark. Increase, that's the wrong side. Increase the left side light just a little bit. Get some lights on the standby instruments as well. I can't seem to find the, that's the pedestal lighting. Yep, that's the flood lighting. The avionics lights are all the way up. That's not really a big deal. Really do enjoy these mountains. Seeing the roads going up into some of them and everything. It's this has been a really pretty mountain range to fly over. We flew over it once from Prince George to Tumbler Ridge, and basically we're doing the exact same thing. We're just crossing, going the other direction, and a little bit further towards the north, going to McKenzie. But the mountains are still really, really pretty up here. Some great looking clouds and a nice sunset to go along with it. So we're kind of at that point in the flight. I just want to say thank you all for joining me for the flight today. I appreciate having you guys along. Y'all's support is amazing. All y'all that subscribe to the channel, like the videos, just watch the videos, enjoy them hopefully, comment on them. I really appreciate all the support. It means a ton to me. I love making these videos. I love doing these flights, so keep flying over places like this, and really makes me want to go hiking. I don't know why. It's not really like I have a whole lot of great options as far as hiking is concerned with where I live currently. Oklahoma is not exactly known for our beautiful mountains to hike. Unfortunately, there are some actually. You know, it gets a lot of crap, but there are some pretty beautiful places to go to. It's just the problem is there's not really a lot of them, and they're not necessarily close by. So, makes me miss. I think probably some of the most beautiful hikes I ever did were on vacation in Colorado, the Rockies, and just. It seemed like you could go do a new trail every single day, and they're all equally awesome. They're beautiful, challenging hikes too. Some of them were pretty easy. I mean, there was hikes for all kinds of skill levels, and you know, how hard you wanted to work yourself. I also got the appreciation, or got a lot of appreciation for ski lifts. Because I hiked up one of the mountains I had actually snowboarded on, I think the winter before, because we were there in the summer after, and I decided to hike up the mountain with a friend, and yeah, those I'm not a huge fan of ski lifts. They kind of freak me out. But I could not imagine. It was hard enough going up that mountain on a beautiful day during the summer. No snow. I think there was actually a little bit of snow at the top, but for the majority of it, there was no snow. And yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to do that in anything worse than what that day was. And that day was probably the best day you could have asked for a hike. Just getting close to, what would that be, 6 p.m. local time. Yeah, sun still got a decent amount of distance there between where it is and the horizon, and we are coming up on 16 minutes from McKenzie. Go ahead and talk about McKenzie real quick. We have runway 1735 available, and it should be basically on. We're going westbound now. You can see this body of water that's kind of running north-south next to McKenzie. McKenzie should be on the east side of that body of water. The airfield should be anyways, so should be hopefully easy to spot. But that's a good reference for us there. We're just kind of popping through this really thin cloud. It's a nice poofy cloud. Just making sure we're not getting into anything thicker up in front of us. It's a great looking valley down there. See that? That looks like a lake, basically, sitting right in between those two peaks. That has got to be probably, if that's really a lake right there, not my eyes playing a trick on me or something, that has got to be probably one of the clearest, most beautiful lakes. Going there with a camera, getting a perfect picture of the peaks reflecting off of the lake. So beautiful. So 8,500 feet definitely does seem safe for our altitude. It's a good call. Always nice to check on SkyVector. Just make sure you're gonna be safe. You know, it's not necessarily guaranteed, especially with not really fully planning anything. We're just kind of looking at it and going, yep, that looks good enough, and winging it off of there. Nowhere near what I'd really want to do for a proper flight plan or anything like that, but good enough for what we're using it for. And also nice because 8,500 feet, like I said, we're going through these real thin, kind of poofy clouds. But if we went up higher, there's a little bit more cloudage going on up there. And I don't want to get into that, so looks like it's clearing up a little bit more off in front of us. There's no weather reporting at McKenzie that I could find anyways. Even if there was, I mean, I saw what there was on SkyVector, but as far as being able to pick it up in sim, which is what matters, because I'm really just concerned about what the sim thinks the weather's like. Regardless, I think we're going to go ahead and plan for runway 35. So we'll set that up in our heading bug. It's always nice just to have the reference there. And take the time where you're kind of not really doing much. And take advantage of it. Alright, we are just now coming towards the end of the mountain range here. It's really kind of dropped off in the past little bit. Beautiful to fly over, still, even with the smaller mountains. I love seeing all the little bodies of water in them. It really is beautiful every single time, and the nice little spaghetti streams going in the valleys. Looks really good. But we are 6 minutes from McKenzie, doing 172 knots. We're at 8,500 feet. McKenzie's elevation is right around 2,200 feet. So we have about 6,000 feet that we need to lose in between us and the airfield. So we'll go ahead and set, well, 2,200 feet. We'll go ahead and plan just to go down to at least an initial altitude on our descent to 4,000 feet, and we may just disengage the autopilot along the way, let it take a break, let us have some fun. But we'll set 1,000 feet a minute. Nice conservative descent, basically. We'll pull the power back and actually go ahead and let the airspeed increase a little bit. We're in relatively smooth air, and we can kind of afford to increase our speed, decrease the time of our trip, and also hopefully at the same time make it to where this descent is going to allow us to still clear all of these top of these ridges that we've got up in front of us. We just got this one that we're over right now, the second one, and then the third one, and basically at that point we're safe to McKenzie, it looks like. So just set the power to hold right around 170 knots, and that should be perfectly acceptable. Should be able to see McKenzie up there somewhere. That kind of looks like a runway to me, but we'll see once we get a little bit closer. We're 4 minutes out, 12 miles. Sun's just getting lower and lower. It does look rather amazing still. We can set our landing lights on now. We can actually go ahead and disengage the autopilot. Let's have some fun here. We will put it into the left turn here a little bit, kind of go in between these two ridge lines, and head straight for the big old body of water we got right in front of us. Like I said, we're going to plan for runway 35 for our approach. Go ahead and zoom that map in. And 2,200 feet, I'll go ahead and, whoop. I hate it whenever it does that. I'll go ahead and set 3,200 feet in for the altitude selector. That's just 1,000 feet over the airport elevation. Should be good for planning there. So let's see. What do you guys think? Do you think that's a runway down there? Or do you think it's further over? I kind of think the airport's up in here, kind of behind where our compass is at the moment. We'll come over and see if, I think it's right in there, in all honesty. You type in the comments below and tell me I'm blind if you see it better than I do. You won't be the first person to tell me I'm blind. That is for sure. We could also use kind of these bodies of water to help us figure it out. And I do think it's got to be right in there, right basically behind our compass. Oh, for sure, yeah. Okay, so we're just going to keep coming down, 3,200 feet. At this point, we'll go ahead and pull the power back a little bit, and let's start slowing ourselves down. We can get our approach flaps out at 150, go full flaps at, I believe it's 125. Either way, it is the start of the white arc on our speed here, which we're going too fast for you to really see, but It should also say down here on the flaps, if we really wanted to know, 150 and 125. Yep. Let's really pull the throttle back. There's 150. Go ahead and go approach flaps. We're going to be turning a short approach here. Very short approach. It's 125, full flaps. Nose back down, so we definitely have the runway in sight. You see a nice short approach. We're at 90 knots. Approach speed, we just want to keep it right around the 80 mark. Getting bounced around just a little bit. Alright, rolling out on final. Runway 35 at McKenzie. If that isn't a view, I don't know what is. That looks great. It's 500 feet. We're a little bit high. Got a last minute approach there. I thought I was giving myself a little bit more room to the runway, but alas. We're fast as well. Let's pull the power out. I'm really getting bounced around. The wind's not even that strong. Landed a little long there, but overall I think that was a pretty decent landing. Just start getting on the brakes a little bit. Don't need to slam on them. Now we need to start slowing down so we can make this turn off. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn our taxi light on. Alrighty, turning in now. It's a beautiful approach. Not necessarily the most stable approach we've ever done in the world, but a beautiful approach, beautiful airport. We are clear of the runway. So go ahead and clean the aircraft up. We got our strobe lights off, get our anti-ice stuff off there, and turn all that good stuff off as well. Keep our taxi light on, and we'll keep going. We're going to taxi on over to the hangar over here, so we can offload our cargo. And we'll spend the night here in McKenzie, and in the morning, we'll pick back up for our next flight. I hope you all enjoyed the flight today. I rambled a bit, but nevertheless, I hope you all enjoyed. I appreciate having you guys along. If you did like the flight, make sure to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more content like this. All that normal YouTube stuff you always hear from everybody. But I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. You guys are all awesome. Transponder to stand by there. Words are hard. Go ahead and just do a U-turn here. That ground crew wants us to park with them, but they look like they want it. They want us to a little too much, if you know what I mean. Like, they just look a little too happy that we're here. And that guy looks sad now that I'm not pulling in. And that's perfect. That's really what we're going for. Just breaking that guy's dreams down there. Okay. We're going to go ahead and set our parking brake. That's going to complete the flight in FS Economy. So we could bring up the client here, and once I accept that message, it makes everything go away, and the aircraft is now on the ground and available at McKenzie. So we are ready for our next leg. Like I said, going to wait till the morning, not do the flight at night, basically, but we can go ahead and hide the client now and get ready to shut the aircraft down. So we can get our taxi light off. We can also get our nav light off at this point. We can turn our avionics off and then go to our conditioner lever, or I guess fuel boost probably to off, conditioner lever cut off. Flight sim, thank you very much. Our flight's completed. Never would have known without that message. I'm getting more bitter about that popping up. I don't know why, but it really irks me that pops up whenever you're done with the flight. We'll put the prop all the way back, battery off as well. We got our beacon off, and we can go ahead and close up the fuel tanks there. So that is us parked on the ground at McKenzie. Beautiful flight. Love flying over that mountain range. Looking forward to the flight in the morning as well. I hope you all enjoyed. As I said before, thank you all so much for joining me, and hopefully you'll be with me for our next journey. But until then, bye bye.